Hey CSM, it's Justin here. We're doing video teaching today. Yes, this is a little weird even for me. So this is an experiment, so give me lots of grace as we try to walk through this here. But I've been involved in CSM since 2003. Many of you were little kids actually when I started here working with high school kids. When I started, I had just gotten married, and now I'm actually a father of 4 kids, which keeps me very busy at home, and I love every minute of it. Almost every minute of it. Wiping diapers or wiping butts in the middle of the night is not fun, but a lot of the other stuff is a lot of fun. So you're wondering, was I ever in high school? And the answer is yes, I was in high school. And in fact, I attempted to sense some fashion trends and lost, right? And you may see my teal blazer here pop up on the screen, but if you're wondering if that was cool then, the answer is no, and it's probably still not cool. But I took a risk and I failed. And that is actually my senior picture. So it stays with me still today. Been in, as I said, CSM since 2003. One of my best, most favorite memories that I've gotten to be a part of here was working with a group of sold out high school kids that said, man, I want to do something about modern day slavery. And they dedicated hours and hours and hours and hours to make this happen. And we actually did 2 unbound prayer gatherings over the last 4 years. And at the first one, we did this march through downtown Cincinnati, where you can see this picture right now of hundreds of people marching through the streets. And it was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever been a part of, where you just felt the power of these people coming together to say, we want to end slavery and we are willing to do what it takes. And then about a year and a half later, another group of kids, or same group of kids plus some other kids, came together and did it again. And we decided to stage hundreds of kids and adults on Sawyer Point spelling out the word free. And we had a volunteer photographer take our picture. Here it is, man, just seeing the power of kids when they unleash what they have for God is just amazing what they can do. And being a part of that and supporting and helping lead these kids through that was a memory I will long have in CSM. And that is one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this. Even though I didn't want to talk on video, I'm willing to do this because I feel like there is more of that you guys have that you can give to. But one of the biggest barriers we are about to run into, that we run into every single year like clockwork, is school. Right? We're all in school, heading back to school right about now. Like, we always have this like uptick of spiritual intensity throughout the summer, and then boom, we hit school. And then for most of you, I've seen it happen year after year after year, boom, by October, any spiritual traction you had gained is lost by October, right? You are so busy, so tired, so involved, moving from 6:30 in the morning when you're up doing your hair until 11, 12 p.m. at night, and that cycle just continues over and over and over. In fact, when I ask this question, I've done this for years, if I ask a teenager, how are you today, right? The answer I get almost every time, or about 80% of the time, is I am tired, right? And the whole deal, I mean, I don't care how spiritual you really are. If you are just wiped, too busy, too tired, you are not just going to have time for God. So we're going to do something very different that we haven't done in CSM in a long time. We are going to do a very practical how to talk and how to get through school and actually have time for God in your life. And it's going to be a very different kind of talk, but it is actually critical to your spiritual walk. If you aren't doing some of these things we're going to talk about, you are not going to have time for God, and your relationship will sour on its way down, and boom, we'll have to start all over again for next year's trips and all those things, and we would love to avoid that thing. So here's the deal. We're going to talk about school, and we're going to talk about how to do better in school. In fact, here's the question I have for you. I want a show of hands right now. How many of you would like to have better grades with less work? All right, raise your hands. Better grades with less work. All right, look around. How many of you guys have your hands up right now? All right, I assume, I don't know this, but I assume it's every single person in the audience, because school is just a big barrier that gets in the way of God, and we can actually do better in school and do less work. I think that would be pretty sweet, and I imagine you would agree with me on that. And these, what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to throw out 4 things for you. These are tried, proven, and tested. I was a high school teacher for 8 years, and I was also the swim coach at the high school, at Princeton High School where I taught. And I would have swimmers who would swim with me at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and then come back again after school and swim for another 2 hours plus in 45 minutes of dry land or weight room. And these kids would be able to maintain honor roll averages in advanced classes, right? Because we talked about how can you do school very efficiently, get good grades on doing less work. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Tip number 1. Tip number 1. This is simple. Remember, this is simple. You can do this. All right, is to ask questions, right? When I was a high school teacher for 8 years, who do you think asked more questions, my A students or my C students? Whisper your answer to your friend. Who asked more questions, the A students or C students? And so if you answered the A students, you are correct. C students almost never ask questions. A students want to learn and they have a desire to figure it out right then and there. They will actually ask questions during class, and they're not afraid to raise their hand and say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So here's the scenario that plays itself out, right? You're in math class. The teacher starts on this long explanation, right? Probably boring, probably not relevant to your life. And about 5 minutes into it, you're lost, right? And then for the next 30 minutes, you sit there lost, unable to glean and gather any information at all, right? And then you go home that night, and then you sit down and you spend 45 minutes maybe on your homework, and you don't get past question 1 in the homework, and then you have to go back to school and you've actually gained nothing, and you just spent 2 hours worth of work and you have nothing to show for it, right? Instead, raise your hand, ask the question, get unstuck so you can then move forward and absorb the next 30 minutes, and you will actually have to study less at night, right? You will actually have to study less at night, right? So let's do some practice right now together. Everyone, practice raising your hand. Do it with me. There you go. Get them up. Everybody, come on. This participation. Good. All right. How was that? You guys okay? I know it's hard to admit that you're wrong. Let's try it again. Raise your hand again. Get it up there. Yes. Yes. Good and high. All right. Good work. You are now trained in tip number 1. Ask some questions. All right. Tip number 2. Take advantage of downtime, right? There is time during your day, most likely, where you have downtime, right? 5-10 minutes at the end of class. I've seen this play out hundreds of times. Kids just kind of close their books and be like, I'll do my homework tonight, right? Which is, a reasonable idea. And then they just kind of hang out, talk to their friends, text message under the desk or in their sweatshirt pockets, which is pretty impressive that you guys can do that. And then they get home, and then it's been like 6 hours, especially if they've done a sport or a play or some kind of activity after school. It's been like 6 hours since they've even looked at that material, right? And they have to go back and they have to start all over and relearn it that night, right? But if you actually take that 10 minutes of downtime and you use it during the day, that's the equivalent, in my made-up prediction, of 45 minutes of work that night. Because it's fresh, and you can put it in your brain, you can actually learn it really well, right? You can learn it so much faster and better in those 10 minutes when it's fresh. You're using those brain muscles, you're putting it in there, you're working it hard, and boom, it's there. So you can trade 10 minutes for 45 minutes. Good investment of your time. That'll free you up to pursue God and hang out, to do things you enjoy doing and to pursue God even more, all right? So take advantage of any downtime, even if it's 5 minutes. That 5 minutes would be the equivalent of 25 minutes at night. Take advantage of downtime, all right? So be asking questions, take advantage of downtime. Number 3, work together. If you are kind of someone who gets stuff kind of quickly, help teach other people and you'll never have to study at all. You will learn faster and more when you are teaching, right? There is nothing that I think is, You do not get points for staring at a book and not understanding it for an hour, right? People will come in, they used to come into me as for students and be like, I worked for like 2 hours on this homework. And I'd be like, did you make any progress? And they'd be like, no. I'd be like, waste of your time. You completely wasted your time, right? Don't waste your time. If you are stuck, get unstuck immediately. You do not get points for effort. You get points for getting the right answers on the test. So take the time to ask questions, do Facebook, Instant Messenger, pop-up, ask questions, work together, find people you can study with, and get it done. You will learn faster when you're talking about it, when you're teaching it to other people, when you're asking questions that they're having to teach it and you're hearing it explained again. Work together, find out things that you guys can work together on, and that will make you actually have to study less. In fact, that's a lot more fun, right? There are times you'll have to work alone, but when you can, work together, have systems in place where you can ask your friends for help to get yourself unstuck. You get no points for staring at a book and not understanding it for an hour. I am not impressed by that. Don't do it, nor are your teachers, nor are your parents, all right? They may think they're impressed, but you're just wasting time. Find something to help you learn it better and quicker, right? All right, the last one, in fact, this will give you the most bang for your buck, and it's very simple, but not easy to do, is get 8 hours of sleep a night, all right? Get 8 hours of sleep a night. That will actually make your brain absorb the information you are learning better. You will not actually have to study as hard. You'll have to study almost half of what you study on a normal basis if you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night. And I'll hear this, I don't have time. I'll be like, you don't have time because you're wasting so much time studying and not remembering anything and not learning it, right? If you get 8 hours of sleep a night, what actually happens in your brain takes what you learned, processes it, and stores it as a learned deal, right? What you guys are doing is put information in, you're not sleeping, so your brain is not processing it, and you actually don't learn it. And then you have to study 3 times as hard, right? Sleep 8 hours a night. There are I could bore you with the scientific studies out there that say, study after study after study, right? That say, when you sleep, you learn better. Do it. In fact, I will almost argue it's better to go to sleep, right? Get your 8 hours of sleep and then catch back up on your work when your brain can actually absorb it, right? And to throw out some other things, right? If you sleep more, this is just a teaser because I know teens care about their body image, you actually have less acne. There are studies out there. You will actually get less acne if you take care of your body, right? The stress and exhaustion increases your acne. Depression, right? Over half of the kids in CSM, maybe even more, suffer from some level of depression, right? Half of that is just because you're not sleeping at night and you're exhausted and you feel miserable. I would feel depressed too, right? You have got to get your sleep at night. It will actually change your whole deal, right? A lot of you guys are like these beautiful cars with powerful engines and it has no gas. And yeah, no car, no matter how awesome that car is going to go anywhere without any gas. Get your sleep. I promise you, if you do these 4 things, you will have the best year of your life because you will have the opportunity to pursue God, right? If you are asking questions in class and of your friends, right? If you are taking advantage of the downtime throughout school, if you're working together and having avenues where you're talking about the stuff and processing and doing those things, and you're getting 8 hours of sleep at night, man, oh man, it is going to change your deal, right? And I've been yelling at you hardcore, don't know how you're receiving this, but understand the heart of this, right? This is not like because we love school, right? This is the heart of what we're talking about right now, is because there is something God wants you to do this year. And if you are just swamped, busy, tired, exhausted, you're not going to be able to do it. And I need you. We need you to be fighting for this kingdom of God. And you have something, a vital role to play. Man, and we would love to see you guys unleash this year and not just floundering around, exhausted, wasting an entire 9 months while you're in school. only just learning some information and really not even learning it. All right? Cool.